The arrival. Jake took a deep breath as he stepped off the small spaceship. The moment his feet touched the ground of the strange planet, he felt a rush of excitement and fear. The sky was a vibrant shade of purple, and the air smelled sweet and fresh, unlike anything he had ever experienced on Earth. Tall, colorful plants surrounded him, their leaves swaying gently in a soft breeze. Jake's heart raced as he realized he was truly alone on this alien world. He looked around, trying to take it all in. The landscape was dotted with bright flowers and unusual rock formations. In the distance, he could see mountains that seemed to glow in the light of the strange sun. Jake pulled out his small handheld device to scan the environment. It beeped softly, confirming that the atmosphere was safe for him to breathe. He smiled to himself, feeling a surge of adventure. As he walked further, he heard a rustling sound coming from behind a large blue plant. Curious, Jake moved closer, his senses alert. Suddenly, he saw two figures emerging from the bushes, a tall, slender alien woman and her small daughter. They looked different from any creature Jake had ever seen. Their skin shimmered in shades of green and gold, and their large, expressive eyes were filled with fear. Jake raised his hand slowly, showing that he meant no harm. "Hello," he called out, trying to sound friendly. The alien woman stepped back, holding her daughter close. They looked ready to run, but Jake could see the fear in their eyes. He knew they were scared, but he felt a strong urge to help them. The alien woman spoke in a soft voice, but Jake couldn't understand her words. He noticed her eyes darting nervously toward the bushes. Something was out there, something that frightened them. Jake's heart pounded as he realized they were in danger. He glanced around, and that's when he saw it, a dark, shadowy figure creeping closer from the trees. Without thinking, Jake moved quickly in front of the mother and daughter. "You're safe. I won't let it hurt you," he shouted, trying to sound brave even though he felt scared inside. The creature, large and menacing, stepped into the open. It had sharp teeth and glowing red eyes, making it clear that it was a predator. The alien woman gasped, and Jake felt her fear. He needed to act fast. "Follow me," he yelled, grabbing the hand of the little girl, Lila. The mother hesitated for a moment, but then followed, her eyes wide with worry. They dashed through the colorful plants, trying to put distance between themselves and the creature. Jake led them deeper into the forest, his heart racing. He could hear the creature crashing through the bushes behind them. "Keep going," he urged, glancing back to see how close it was. The mother, Nira, ran with Layla by her side, trusting Jake even though they had just met. Finally, they stumbled upon a large rock formation that provided a small hiding place. Jake quickly pushed them behind it, and they crouched low, holding their breath. The sounds of the creature grew louder as it searched for them. Jake felt a wave of panic wash over him. Would they be caught? As they hid, Jake could hear Nira whispering softly to Leela in their alien language. He wished he could understand them, but he could see the love and protection in Nira's eyes. In that moment, Jake realized he had to protect these two strangers, no matter what it took. He would fight for their safety, even if it meant risking his own life. The chase was just beginning, and Jake was determined to keep Nira and Layla safe. The danger. Jake crouched behind a large rock formation, his heart pounding in his chest. He listened intently as the creature sniffed the air, its heavy footsteps thumping closer. He could see its dark shadow moving through the underbrush, searching for them. Nira clutched Leela tightly, her eyes wide with fear. Jake could feel the weight of their panic pressing down on him. He had to think fast. "Stay quiet," he whispered to them, trying to keep his voice steady. Nira nodded, though her face was pale. Jake peeked around the rock, carefully examining their surroundings. The creature was a massive beast with sharp claws and glowing red eyes that pierced through the darkness. It prowled like a hunter, scanning the area for any sign of movement. Just then, Layla let out a soft whimper. Jake turned to her, his eyes wide with concern. "Sheh, it's okay," he said softly. We have to stay very still. Nira placed a hand over Layla's mouth, calming her. Jake knew they couldn't stay hidden for long. They needed a plan. Suddenly, the creature's head snapped in their direction. It must have heard Layla's whimper. Jake felt his stomach drop. "We need to move," he said urgently. "There's a clearing just a bit further ahead. If we can make it there, we might have a chance to escape." Nira's eyes flashed with worry. "What about you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You can't fight that thing." Jake shook his head. "I'll distract it. Just follow my lead. Don't look back." Nira hesitated, fear and uncertainty written on her face. But then she nodded, realizing they had no choice. Jake took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. He peeked around the rock again and saw the creature was still sniffing the air, unaware of their exact position. "Now," he whispered, and they all dashed out from behind the rock. Jake ran ahead, trying to draw the creature's attention. "Hey, over here," he shouted, waving his arms. The creature turned immediately, its glowing eyes locking onto Jake. It let out a low growl, a sound that sent chills down his spine. He sprinted towards the clearing, feeling the ground shake with every step. The beast took behind him. He could hear Nira and Leela running close behind, their breaths heavy with fear. "Don't look back," he yelled again, pushing himself to run faster. As they entered the clearing, Jake spotted some tall trees on the other side. "We can hide there," he shouted, pointing to the trees. They all headed toward the cover of the foliage, hoping to escape the creature's sight. But just as they reached the trees, Jake felt a sharp pain in his side. He stumbled and turned to see the creature had caught up to him. It lunged forward, its claws outstretched. Jake quickly dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. He could see Nira and Leela watching in horror, but he had to focus on surviving. "Go!" he screamed at Nira, desperate to keep them safe. She hesitated, torn between helping Jake and protecting her daughter. "Take Leela and run," he urged again, his voice filled with urgency. Nira's eyes filled with tears, but she grabbed Leela's hand and sprinted toward the trees. Jake took a deep breath, preparing himself for a fight. He knew he couldn't let the creature get to them. He looked back at the monster, feeling a surge of determination. As the creature roared in anger, Jake gathered all his courage. He spotted a large branch on the ground and picked it up. It was heavy, but he knew he had to use it to protect them. He faced the creature, ready to defend the only family he had left in this strange world. With the alien mother and daughter safe for now, Jake understood the true danger they faced. This was just the beginning, and he would do everything in his power to keep them safe. The escape plan. Jake stood in the clearing, heart racing, as he faced the creature that had chased them. It roared loudly, shaking the ground beneath him. He could feel the adrenaline pumping through his veins, and he knew they needed a plan to escape. He glanced back at Nira and Leela, who were crouched behind a large tree, watching with wide eyes. They looked scared but determined. "Okay," Jake said, trying to sound calm. "We need to think. We can't just keep running. That creature will never stop hunting us." He took a deep breath and approached Nira and Leela. "We have to outsmart it." Nira nodded slowly, her face still pale but focused. "I can help. We know this area better than you do," she replied, her voice steadier now. "But we need to work together." "Great," Jake said, feeling a little relieved. "What do you have in mind?" Nira glanced around, looking for ideas. "There's a cave nearby. It's hidden behind some bushes. If we can get there, we might be able to hide until the creature gives up." "Good thinking," Jake replied. "How far is it?" "It's not too far, but we need to be careful. The creature might be close," Nira warned. Jake turned to Leela, who was looking at him with innocent eyes. "Can you be brave for a little longer?" he asked her. She nodded, her small face showing determination. "All right," Jake said, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "Here's the plan. Nira, you and Leela stay low, and move quietly behind the bushes. I'll make some noise to distract the creature while you get to the cave." Nira looked worried. "But what if it comes after you?" "I'll be fine," Jake assured her, though he wasn't sure. "I just need you two to get to safety. Once you're in the cave, I'll join you." Nira took a deep breath, trusting Jake. "Okay, let's do this." Jake took a moment to prepare himself. He picked up a few small rocks from the ground, hoping to use them as tools for distraction. "When I start throwing these, that's your signal to move," he said. Nira nodded and whispered to Leela, who looked up at her mother with trust. "We can do this, sweetie," she said. Jake took a step back, feeling the tension in the air. He focused on the creature, which was still lurking at the edge of the clearing, sniffing for their scent. He raised his arm, ready to throw a rock. "Here goes nothing," he thought. With a quick motion, Jake hurled a rock into the bushes on the other side of the clearing. The noise echoed loudly, and the creature's head snapped in that direction. "Now, go!" he shouted. Nira and Leela wasted no time. They dashed toward the bushes, moving as quietly as they could. Jake watched anxiously, ready to run if the creature turned back to them. The monster roared and lunged toward the sound of the rock, giving Nira and Leela the chance they needed. Come on," Jake whispered to himself, willing them to make it to the cave. He could see Nira and Leela slipping behind the bushes, their figures disappearing into the foliage. Relief washed over him, but he couldn't relax yet. As the creature continued to chase the sound, Jake quickly grabbed another rock and threw it again, this time farther away. The beast growled and raced after the new noise, allowing Jake to breathe a little easier. He took off toward the bushes, moving quickly to join Nira and Leela. He reached the cave just as the creature began to turn back, sensing that something was off. "Hurry," he urged, slipping inside after Nira and Leela. They huddled together in the dim light, the walls cool against their backs. As they caught their breath, Jake looked at Nira and Leela, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "We did it," he said, a smile breaking across his face. Nira squeezed Leela's hand tightly. "Thank you, Jake. You were very brave," she said softly, her voice filled with relief. Jake nodded, knowing they were safe for now. But in the back of his mind, he knew they needed to think ahead. They had escaped the danger, but the creature was still out there. The real challenge was yet to come. The chase. Inside the cave, Jake, Nira, and Leela took a moment to catch their breath. The air was cool, and the dim light from the outside world barely reached them. They listened intently, hoping the creature had lost interest and gone away. But deep down, Jake knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. "Are we safe here?" Leela asked, her voice small and shaky. "For now," Jake replied, glancing at Nira. She looked worried, her eyes scanning the dark entrance of the cave. "But we have to be careful. We should come up with a plan to get to safety." Nira nodded. "There's a river not far from here. If we can reach it, we can follow it to a safer area. The creature might not follow us there." Jake felt a mix of hope and fear. "That sounds good, but we need to wait until it's dark. The creature will have a harder time seeing us then." They settled into the cave, trying to stay quiet. As the sun began to set, the shadows grew longer, and the cave felt more mysterious. Jake peered out into the growing darkness, his heart racing. He wanted to protect Nira and Leela, but he also felt the weight of danger pressing down on them. Finally, as the last light faded from the sky, Jake turned to Nira. "It's time. We should go now, while we can still see." Nira took a deep breath, looking at Leela, who nodded bravely. "Let's do it," she whispered. They quietly slipped out of the cave, Jake leading the way. The air felt cool against his skin, and the sounds of the night surrounded them. He could hear the soft rustle of leaves and the distant call of strange creatures. They moved quickly, careful to stay low and avoid making noise. But just as they started toward the river, Jake heard a growl. His heart sank. The creature was nearby, and it had picked up their scent. "Run," he shouted, adrenaline pumping through him as he took off toward the trees. Nira and Leela followed closely behind. The creature's heavy footsteps thudded behind them, getting closer and closer. Jake glanced back to see the beast crashing through the bushes, its red eyes glowing in the dark. "Keep going," he yelled, urging them to run faster. They pushed through the thick underbrush, branches scratching at their arms and faces. Jake's mind raced as he tried to think of a way to escape. They couldn't outrun the creature forever. "Left," Nira shouted suddenly, pointing to a narrow path leading deeper into the forest. Jake quickly changed direction, leading them down the narrow trail. The path was winding, and he hoped it would lead them to the river. They raced through the trees, breathing heavily. Lila was right behind Nira, her small feet pounding the ground. Jake could hear the creature gaining on them, its growls echoing in the night. Suddenly, the path opened up, revealing a small clearing. In the center was a shallow river, glimmering under the light of the moon. "This way," Jake shouted, racing toward the water. He knew they had to reach the river to have any chance of escaping. Nira and Leela jumped into the river, the cool water splashing around their legs. "Keep moving," Jake urged, trying to keep his voice steady despite the panic he felt inside. They waded deeper into the water, which was cold and refreshing. The creature reached the edge of the river, its growls growing louder. It paused, confused by the water that flowed between them. Jake could see it hesitating, unsure whether to follow. "It won't come in," he shouted, his heart racing with hope. The creature sniffed the air, its eyes narrowing as it looked at them. Jake held his breath, praying the creature would turn back. After a tense moment, the beast growled in frustration and stepped back, finally deciding not to cross the river. "We did it," Leela cheered, splashing water around her in delight. Nira hugged her tightly, tears of relief in her eyes. Jake let out a long sigh, his heart still racing. They were safe for now, but he knew the danger wasn't over. They had to find a way to continue their journey and protect each other from whatever came next. Finding a safe place. As they waded through the cool water of the river, Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. The creature had not followed them into the river, and the dark, shimmering water gave them a moment to breathe. Lila splashed playfully, giggling at the feel of the cool water around her legs. Nira, still shaken but relieved, held her daughter's hand tightly. "Are we safe now?" Leela asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement and fear. Jake knelt down beside her. "For now, yes, but we can't stay here for too long. We need to find a safe place to rest," he replied, looking around at the dark trees lining the riverbank. The moonlight filtered through the leaves, casting eerie shadows on the ground. Nira nodded, her face still pale from their narrow escape. "I know a place nearby. It's a small cave, further down the river. It's hidden from view and safe from creatures," she said, her voice steadying as she spoke. "Lead the way," Jake urged, grateful for her knowledge of the area. They began to walk along the riverbank, careful to stay quiet and hidden. The water splashed gently at their feet as they moved, and Jake listened closely for any signs of danger. As they walked, Nira pointed out small glowing plants along the riverbank. "These plants are safe to eat if we get hungry," she said, picking one and holding it out to Leela. The little girl took it with wide eyes and nibbled on it. "Yummy," she exclaimed, smiling. They continued walking for several minutes, Nira leading them through the trees. Jake kept a watchful eye on their surroundings, feeling the tension in the air. Finally, they reached a small hidden cave tucked between two large rocks. "This is it," Nira whispered, her eyes lighting up with relief. The entrance was small, but it opened into a larger space inside. Jake glanced around, checking for any signs of danger before they entered. "Looks safe enough," he said, stepping inside after Nira and Leela. The cave was cool and dark, with smooth walls that glimmered in the dim light. Jake felt a sense of comfort wash over him as they settled into the cave, away from the dangers outside. Inside, they found a small, flat rock that made a perfect spot to sit. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their adventure pressing down on him. "We can rest here for a bit," he said, glancing at Nira and Leela. "We need to regain our strength before moving again." Nira nodded, her face finally relaxing. "Thank you, Jake. You kept us safe," she said softly, looking at him with gratitude. Jake smiled, feeling a warm sense of pride. "We did this together," he replied. "I couldn't have done it without both of you." Leela yawned, her little eyes drooping. "I'm tired," she said, curling up against her mother. Nira wrapped her arms around her daughter, stroking her hair gently. "Get some rest, sweetie. We'll be safe here," Nira whispered, her voice soothing. Jake watched them, feeling a strong bond forming between them. He knew they had been through so much together already. As the minutes passed, the sounds of the night surrounded them. The gentle rush of the river, the distant calls of strange creatures, and the rustle of leaves in the wind. Jake leaned back against the cool rock, allowing himself to relax for the first time since arriving on this planet. But even as he closed his eyes, a thought nagged at him. They were safe for now, but how long would it last? Would the creature come looking for them? The weight of the unknown loomed large, but Jake pushed those fears aside for the moment. They had made it this far, and together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. With determination filling his heart, he vowed to protect Nira and Leela at all costs. As the night deepened, Jake felt a sense of hope rise within him. They had found a safe place, and for now, that was enough. They could regroup, plan their next move, and continue their journey together. The adventure was far from over, but with each step, they grew stronger, united by their shared experience and the bond that had formed between them. Gathering help. The morning sun filtered softly through the entrance of the cave, casting warm light on Jake, Nira, and Leela. Jake woke up first, stretching his arms and blinking away sleep. He looked at Nira and Leela, who were still resting peacefully. Despite the chaos of the night before, the cave felt like a safe haven, but Jake knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. He quietly stepped outside, wanting to scout the area. The air was fresh and cool, and he could hear the gentle sounds of the river flowing nearby. As he walked a short distance away from the cave, he began to think about their next steps. They needed more help if they were going to escape the dangers of this alien world. Suddenly, Jake spotted movement in the trees ahead. His heart raced as he crouched low behind a bush. Peering through the leaves, he saw a group of aliens, much like Nira and Leela, gathered around a small fire. They were talking and laughing, their colorful skin glowing in the morning light. Jake felt a mix of hope and fear. Would they be friendly, or would they see him as a threat? He needed to find out, but he didn't want to scare them. Taking a deep breath, Jake decided to approach cautiously. He moved slowly, trying to make as little noise as possible. Just then, he heard a voice behind him. "Who are you?" a soft voice asked. Jake turned quickly to see Nira standing there, her eyes wide with concern. "It's okay," he said, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "I saw some aliens over there. They look friendly. I thought we might ask for help." Nira's expression shifted from worry to interest. "You saw them?" she asked, glancing in the direction Jake had been looking. "Those are my people. They might be able to help us." "Good," Jake said, feeling more hopeful. "Let's go together." They walked toward the group, Leila holding onto her mother's hand tightly. As they approached, the aliens noticed them and stopped talking. Their expressions changed from curiosity to surprise. One of them, a tall alien with bright blue skin, stepped forward. "Who are you?" he asked in a calm voice. Jake took a deep breath. "My name is Jake. I'm from Earth. This is Nira and her daughter, Leela. We need help. We were chased by a dangerous creature, and we're looking for a safe place." The tall alien studied them closely, then nodded. I am Kiran, the leader of this group. You are safe here. We can help you. Relief washed over Jake, and he smiled. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Kiran signaled for the others to gather around. We must move quickly. The creature you speak of is known to hunt in this area. We have a hidden village not far from here. It is safe from such threats. Nara felt a spark of hope. Thank you, Kiran. We need to get Lila to safety. Kiran gestured for them to follow. Come with us. We will protect you. As they walked, Kiran explained the village. It is well hidden in the trees. We have strong walls and many guards. You will be safe there. Jake listened closely, grateful for the chance to find safety for Nira and Leela. The path to the village was winding and covered with colorful flowers. Jake was amazed by the beauty of the planet. He felt more at ease now that he was with Nira's people. They reached a clearing where the village stood, surrounded by tall trees and colorful plants. The buildings were made of natural materials, blending perfectly with the landscape. The villagers greeted them with smiles and curious glances. Nira seemed to relax as they entered the village. They will take care of us, she said, her voice filled with gratitude. Once they arrived, Karen led them to a small hut. You can rest here. We will make sure you have food and protection, he said, his voice warm and welcoming. As Jake and Nira settled into the hut, Leela explored the area, her laughter ringing through the air. For the first time in days, Jake felt a sense of peace. They had found help, and together with Nira's people, they would be safe. But deep down, Jake knew the creature was still out there. They had only bought themselves time. They needed to prepare for what might come next, but for now, they could take a breath and feel safe. The battle. The village was peaceful, and for the first time since arriving on this alien planet, Jake felt a sense of calm. The villagers welcomed him, Nira and Leela, offering food and a safe place to rest. However, Jake's mind remained focused on the creature that had chased them. He knew it wouldn't give up easily. One evening, as the sun began to set, the villagers gathered for a meeting. Kiran stood in front of everyone, his tall figure illuminated by the fading light. We have heard about the creature that hunts you, he began, his voice serious. It is dangerous, and it has attacked our village before. We must prepare for a fight. Jake felt a knot in his stomach. What can we do? He asked, stepping forward. We can't let it harm anyone else. Kiran nodded, appreciating Jake's bravery. We will stand together. Our warriors will defend the village, but we will need all of you to help. Nara looked worried but determined. We can fight too. I won't let it hurt my daughter or anyone else, she said, holding Leela close. As the villagers began to prepare, Jake felt a mix of fear and adrenaline. He wasn't a soldier, but he knew he had to help. Kiran assigned roles to everyone, and Jake found himself with a group of warriors who were gathering weapons made from strong, sharp rocks and sturdy branches. They practiced their battle formations, learning how to fight together as a team. Jake watched the villagers, admiring their skills. They moved with a grace and strength that gave him hope. He joined in, trying to mimic their movements, determined to prove himself. That night, the village was quiet, but the tension was palpable. Jake, Nira, and Leela gathered in their hut, preparing for the battle ahead. We will be safe, Nira assured Leela, who clung to her mother. Jake watched them, his heart filled with resolve. We'll protect each other, he promised. We're stronger together. The next day, as the sun rose, a sense of urgency filled the air. The villagers set up defenses around the perimeter, using large logs and stones to create barriers. Jake helped, working alongside the villagers, forming a line of protection around their home. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the trees. The ground shook beneath their feet as the creature emerged from the forest, its eyes glowing with hunger. Jake felt his heart race. It's here, he shouted, raising his makeshift weapon high. The villagers took their positions, standing firm as the creature charged forward. Its massive body moved with speed and power, and Jake felt a surge of fear. But he couldn't back down now. He stood tall, ready to fight for Nira and Leela, and for the safety of the village. "Hold your ground," Kiran commanded, his voice steady. The warriors readied their weapons, and Jake followed their lead. The creature lunged at the closest villager, snapping its sharp teeth. But the villagers were prepared. They fought back with everything they had, striking at the creature with their weapons. Jake joined the fray, swinging his weapon at the beast. He could feel the adrenaline pumping through him as he fought alongside the villagers. The creature roared in pain, thrashing wildly. It was stronger than he had ever imagined. But the villagers were determined. They worked together, using their numbers to keep the creature at bay. Leela watched from a safe distance, her eyes wide with fear and awe. Nira kept her close, whispering words of comfort as they both watched the battle unfold. "We have to stay safe, sweetheart," Nira said, holding Leela tightly. As the fight continued, Jake spotted an opening. He saw Kiran distracted, struggling against the creature. "Kiran, look out," Jake shouted, rushing to help. With all his strength, he swung his weapon, hitting the creature just as it was about to strike Kiran. The creature roared in anger, turning its attention toward Jake. He felt a rush of fear, but stood his ground. "We won't let you win," he yelled, rallying the villagers around him. Together, they fought fiercely, their hearts united in a common goal. With each strike, they pushed the creature back, finally forcing it to retreat. As it turned and fled into the forest, cheers erupted from the villagers. They had won the battle. Breathing heavily, Jake looked around at the weary but triumphant faces of the villagers. They had fought together and protected each other. He felt a sense of pride swell within him, knowing they had come through this challenge as one. But deep down, he knew the fight was not over. They would have to remain vigilant, ready to face whatever came next. Victory and loss. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the village. The battle was won, but the air was thick with a mix of victory and sadness. As Jake looked around, he saw the villagers embracing one another, relief washing over their faces. They had fought bravely against the creature, but not everyone had made it through unscathed. Kiran stood at the center of the clearing, his expression a mix of pride and sorrow. He called for silence, and the villagers gathered around him. "We fought bravely today," he began, his voice strong yet heavy. "But we must also remember those who are no longer with us." Jake's heart sank as he looked at the faces around him. Some of the villagers bore injuries, and a few stood apart, their eyes filled with grief. The loss was real, and it weighed heavily on everyone. "Today, we lost some of our bravest warriors," Kiran continued, tears glistening in his eyes. "They fought to protect our home and our families. We will honor their memory." Nira stood close to Jake, holding Layla tightly against her. Lila looked up at her mother with confusion and fear. "Are they okay, Mommy?" she asked, her voice small. Nira gently brushed Layla's hair back. "They are heroes, my love. They protected us, and we will always remember them," she replied, her voice steadied despite her own heartache. Jake felt a mix of emotions swirling within him. They had won the battle, but the price of victory was high. He thought of the brave villagers who had stood beside him, fighting for their home. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for their courage, but also sadness for the loss they had suffered. As the villagers began to light small fires in memory of their fallen friends, Jake joined them, feeling the weight of the moment. Each flickering flame represented a life lost, but also a spirit that would never be forgotten. The villagers shared stories of their fallen warriors, speaking of their bravery and kindness. Jake listened, realizing how deeply connected these people were to each other. They had formed a family, bound by their shared struggles and triumphs. He felt honored to be part of it, even if only for a short time. Later that evening, Kiran gathered everyone once more. "Tomorrow, We will bury our friends near the river, where they can rest peacefully. We will build a memorial to honor their sacrifice," he announced, his voice filled with determination. The villagers nodded in agreement, their faces resolute. As the night fell, Jake sat with Nira and Leela outside their hut, watching the stars twinkle overhead. The beauty of the night felt strange after the day's events. "We did it, Jake," Nira said softly. "We survived. But I can't help but feel the weight of our losses." Jake nodded, understanding her pain. "We fought hard, and we protected each other. But it's okay to feel sad. We lost good people today," he replied, his voice gentle. Leela, sensing the seriousness of the moment, asked, "Will we be okay, Jake?" Jake turned to her, seeing the worry in her young eyes. "Yes, Leela. We will be okay. We have each other, and we have these wonderful people around us. Together, we will keep going," he assured her, feeling the warmth of hope amidst the sadness. As the fires burned low, casting soft light around them, Jake thought about what lay ahead. The village was safe for now, but he knew they would need to rebuild and heal. The bond they had formed would help them face whatever challenges came next. With determination in his heart, Jake made a silent promise to honor those they had lost. He would fight for Nira and Leela, for the villagers, and for the brave souls who had given everything to protect their home. The journey was far from over, but together they would find a way to move forward, united in strength and love. A new beginning. The sun rose slowly over the village, casting a warm golden light on the land. After the battle, the villagers had spent the night in quiet reflection, honoring their fallen friends. Jake stood at the entrance of their hut, watching as the dawn broke, feeling a sense of hope mixed with lingering sadness. Today was the day they would bury their fallen warriors. The village gathered by the river, where the water flowed gently, sparkling in the morning light. Jake felt a heaviness in his heart as he walked with Nira and Leela, holding hands tightly. The village was silent, the only sounds being the soft rustle of leaves and the murmurs of the villagers as they prepared to say goodbye. Kiran stood at the front of the gathering, a solemn look on his face. "Today we honor our brave friends," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "They gave their lives for our safety and our home. We will never forget their courage." Jake watched as the villagers placed flowers and small tokens by each grave, remembering their loved ones. He felt a wave of gratitude for these people who had welcomed him and fought beside him. He knew that their strength and spirit would help them heal. As the ceremony began, Leela held onto her mother tightly, her young face filled with confusion and sadness. "Why did they have to go, Mommy?" she asked, her voice small. Nira knelt down, hugging her daughter close. "They are heroes, sweetie. They fought for us, and now they will always be with us in our hearts," she explained gently. Lila nodded, her big eyes glistening with tears. After the ceremony, the villagers began to gather together, sharing stories and memories of their fallen friends. Jake joined in, listening to tales of bravery and laughter, realizing how important it was to remember those they had lost. The villagers laughed and cried together, their bond growing stronger through their shared experiences. As the day continued, Kiran called everyone together again. "We have a choice to make," he began. "We can let this loss break us, or we can honor our friends by continuing to live and protect our village." His words resonated deeply, and the villagers nodded in agreement. Jake felt inspired by Kiran's words. "We must rebuild," he added, stepping forward. "We've faced great challenges, but we've also seen the strength of our unity. Let's work together to make our village stronger." Cheers erupted from the crowd, and Jake felt a surge of energy. The villagers began to organize tasks. Some would gather materials to repair homes, while others would plant new crops. Nira took Leela's hand, smiling as they joined a group to start planting seeds in the village garden. Jake joined a group of warriors to fortify the village's defenses, ensuring they would be ready if any danger returned. He felt a sense of purpose as he worked alongside the villagers, their shared determination driving him forward. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the village buzzed with activity. Jake looked around and felt a sense of pride. They were turning their pain into strength, and together, they were building a new future. Later that evening, the villagers gathered for a feast. The tables were filled with food, laughter, and stories of the day. Jake sat with Nira and Leela, feeling grateful for this moment. "We did good today," he said, smiling at them. Nira nodded, her eyes shining with hope. "We are a family now, Jake. We will always take care of each other," she said, her voice filled with warmth. As the stars twinkled overhead, Jake felt a sense of belonging that he had never felt before. The battles had been tough, but they had also brought him closer to Nira, Leela, and the villagers. He realized that while the past was filled with loss, the future held promise and new beginnings. With a heart full of hope, Jake knew that together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were no longer just survivors. They were a community, ready to embrace a new chapter in their lives. The dawn of a new beginning was here, and with it, a chance to create a future filled with love, strength, and resilience.